It's episode 14, and it is Brawl of the Wild Week brought to you by the Pocket Jacks podcast. Woo! Let's go. Round of applause. This week, it's
We
been a
love it.
long time coming this week. We are both very excited. We've got a full slate of games, including the Brawl of the Wild, that we want to kick it off to start the week. We do want to recap last week, do some playoff rankings, kind of miscellaneous college football stuff. But I think the first thing I want to bring up, Jack, James Franklin, new coach of Virginia Tech. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, it's good to talk about a positive side of this for once. We've been talking about coach firing after coach firing after coach firing. Now we got a coach hiring, and I love the fit. Like I've talked about earlier, I got a good buddy who works at Virginia Tech, and I'm curious to see how many Penn State guys he'll pull. But, Virginia Tech does have a great history. They were an ACC power at one point, and maybe James Franklin can bring them back. What do you think of the hire?
I love it too. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Virginia Tech. I think it's going to be a really good fit, like you said, and yeah, I'm excited for him. That's like you said. We've been talking about hot seats and firings all year. It's good to finally have some positive news and bring some smiles around.
Yeah, and another hire that we put them on the hot seat last week. They figured their shit out. YouTube TV is back. We got all of our channels on there. No longer on the hot seat for me. I'm
In
taking
the
them
nick of
instantly
time.
off.
In the
But
we gotta watch the Louisville Clemson game, which was an absolute amazing game on Friday night. Uh, Louisville has to use two kickers to try and get the game done. They'd end up not doing it and missing a bunch of kicks. It looked like a disaster out there. Dabo's celebrating, coming off the sideline, celebrating like they won the ACC, but they're bowl eligible, so he probably gets paid. That's probably what he's celebrating for.
yeah, yeah, I mean, maybe a job saver. Who knows? I don't know if he was on the hot seat, but God, that game was hilarious. We've talked about it all year. The Friday magic with the dogs. I mean, Clemson, I know they were a slight dog, but Louisville officially out. Another thing in the ACC, Duke officially out. We were both unfortunately on Duke last week. Virginia mopped the floor with them, so we're getting a little bit of clarity in some of these conferences. I'm excited how to see how they play out.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Bama was a great game. Georgia Tech escapes a close one with Boston College. What do you think about the Bama game? I know you were on Bama, I was on Oklahoma, but Bama had about 200 more yards, but that Oklahoma defense is tough. And it is the only thing that kept Oklahoma in that game.
Yeah, no, and it was almost a little bit like Oklahoma against Tennessee, where it felt like Tennessee was kind of going up and down the field. Same with Bama against Oklahoma, going up and down the field. But Oklahoma, their defensive touchdowns in back-to-back weeks, I believe they had a defensive touchdown against Bama there. And I'm like, I'm watching these games. I'm like, is Oklahoma getting lucky here with all these turnovers? But at this point, their defense is just, they're ball magnets. They figure out a way to force turnovers. They figure out a way to get it done. I was happy to see Mateer. It felt like he looked a little bit more like early season Mateer there, but huge win for Oklahoma. They're officially the Tide Slayers, 2-0 on them against them since they've been in the SEC.
Yeah, and talk about a Bama team going into rivalry week with not this week, but next week with Auburn and it being a must win. I mean, they still have to win games. It's not like they're just going to get in the playoffs by just lollygagging. Like Auburn will be a tough game.
Dude, and the problem with Bama, we've talked about this earlier with do you get punished for losing your conference championship with their other loss being a crappy out of conference loss to Florida State. They're going to be in that spot that if they make the SEC championship and lose it, they're going to be shitting bricks when it comes to Selection Sunday or whatever day they end up having the selection show on.
Yeah, and we're a lot like those conference. Who's going to play in conference championships is still so up in the air as far as like AAC, ACC, Big 12, SEC. I mean, Big Ten is kind of the only one that we're really looking at. Like we know what's going to happen, but everything else is still so much in question. Still,
Yeah, and I don't know how we didn't talk about this. Texas A&M, 30 to
oh,
3 at halftime and wins 31-30. I know you've been on Texas A&M all year. What were your thoughts watching that game?
That is like, oh, to me, that's a game where it's like everybody's going to have a bad game. And the fact that they had their bad game and was down 27 at halftime and still find a way to win, they looked like 2019 LSU in the second half, for Christ's sake. I mean, it was unbelievable. They were back in a blink of an eye, like you said earlier this week when we talked about it. But hats off to Texas A&M for facing a little adversity and responding very, very, very positively on that. So I don't
I
know.
think
That's a key marquee win in my eyes. I know it's South Carolina, but they held them to 0 points in the second half and scored 28. So
and I think we do have another hot seat coming out of that game. Did you see the video of the cop big arming Nick Harbor after he scored the touchdown and was like, "What are you doing?" It's what is that? What is that cop doing?
I saw that. I saw them walking through the tunnel. I saw everyone talking about it on ESPN. And yeah, that's wild. But I mean, hot seat for Shane Beamer too. I was almost wondering if we would see the news on Sunday of him being gone, but he's hanging on. I thought Virginia Tech also would have been a good fit for him, but not a good loss for them at all. South
No,
Carolina.
no, that was as a Coug fan, that kind of felt like a Coug loss. They probably could have played the clock a little bit more conservative. It was like they went for it on a fourth down. They gave that game back in one quarter. It's not like Texas A&M came back really late. It was third quarter. They were right back in it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a heck of a game to watch, and Notre Dame was in the meantime beating the shit out of Pitt. Eat shit.
Yeah, Notre Dame. Oh God, Jeremiah Love is he's just a walking highlight. Every week he
Oh,
has one run. Last week it was against Navy where he like falls over, somehow isn't down, snaps it off. This week, one of the more clean spin moves. Didn't even if you had like a miles per hour speedometer on him, he didn't lose any speed during the spin move. He just whoop, spin, kept going.
and then
Touchdown.
and then that breakaway speed is unbelievable for how physical and strong and big of a runner he is. He's also got that breakaway speed. So, I mean, that was one of the more impressive wins for Notre Dame as far as this year. I know they beat USC, and USC's up there in the rankings, I believe 15. But the defense, that was the first time all year that the defense has looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
They gave up one touchdown. It was a last second touchdown. You're not really too concerned about that. The other touchdown was a pick six. So, and then besides that, the defense was balling. So, really good look from Notre Dame this week. The offense looks great. The defense looks great. Really just a solid team win that we have not seen out of Notre Dame this year, really.
Yeah, no, they look great. Should we jump into a little bit of rankings here?
Yeah, let's do it like we did last week. We'll go starting with 15 on the outside, looking in. In my 15th, or I guess you can start us off your 15. Do you want to go 15, 14, 13, or do you want to just go one at a time?
Let's go 15, 14, 13 here. I'll kind of do my same where my 15 is more like just the G5. So my
Okay.
G5 that are just missing is North Texas, Tulane, and Navy. South Florida, great dog pick. Probably one of our best picks we've had on the pod this week. Loses to Navy last week. Done.
Woo-hoo.
No chance. And then from there, I got Miami, Utah, and you're not going to like this, but I have Notre Dame. I just can't figure out a way right now to get them in the top 12. Now, I 100% think they're getting in, but this week, right now, I just ran out of spots for them. So they're my first one out.
Well, I've been saying that the last 2 weeks because I haven't even had them uh, in my rankings as far as the top 12. This week I go. Gosh, it's tough for me. I'm gonna go University of Southern Cal at 15, just like they have it. I will go Miami at 14, and I will go Vanderbilt at 13. So those
Okay.
are interchanged, similar to what the college football playoff has. Uh, did you go down to 12? Is that where you're going with it?
Yep, now I'm at 12, and I did it not where it's actually the number 12. I did like a bracket ranking. So my 12, 11, 10 here is I have 12 being my group of five team, not the same as the college football playoff. I think James Madison's getting robbed a little bit. So I like James Madison there. I have Georgia Tech as kind of my ACC placeholder. I think it's pretty much a lock that ACC is only getting one spot. It's going to be that 11 spot. And then I have Alabama sliding down a little bit after that loss to Oklahoma at number 10.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. Let's see. 12. 12, I'm going to go Notre Dame, similar to you. And then, let's see, I'm trying to pull it up here. There we go. 11, I got Bama at 11 after that loss. 10, I'm going with, I don't know. This one's tough. Because I'm probably in that ACC spot there, right above that. So 10, I'll go Georgia Tech.
Yep. I like
Uh,
it.
and then let's see. Yeah, let me go down. We'll go down to 9, and then we'll rip off the home games.
Okay.
I don't know if Notre Dame's at 9 right now in the real playoff, and I don't know what that's going to shape out to be as far as I don't know if they can move up anymore. Honestly, I was thinking about it. I don't know if they can move up necessarily at all, which sucks because the team that plays that 8-9 would be Ohio State probably. So
Yeah.
uh, let's see. 9, I'll go Oklahoma. Sorry,
Yep.
Oregon. Oregon at 9.
All right. I have Oklahoma at 9 there, being my highest rated two-loss team. Great win over Alabama.
Great
Just have
one.
my just a little below the one-loss teams.
Perfect. Because I've got them at 8.
Okay. I go. Let's see. I go BYU at 8 here, Big 12 spot, and then I have Oregon at 7, just ahead of BYU. Um, Probably could put BYU above Oregon, but pretty interchangeable there. Both getting a home game.
Yeah. I'm interchangeable. Oregon at 9, obviously, and then or I guess Oklahoma at 9. 7, let's see. 7 going BYU, 6 going Ole Miss.
Yep, I'm with you at number 6. I also have Ole Miss, and then I have Texas Tech here at 5. I have a question about this later. Texas Tech has an argument to be a top 4 team.
Yeah,
They have their one loss to Arizona State. Every other game, they have won by at least 22 points. So they are dominating teams.
yeah. I have them in my top 4. So I go Georgia at 5, Texas Tech at 4.
All right, I like that. And then I go Georgia at 4, and then I'll just wrap it off here. I slid Texas A&M down to 3. I slid Indiana down last week for their Penn State game. Kind of the same thing there with Texas A&M. Great win, not going to kill them, but I'm just sliding them down to 3. Indiana at 2, and I still have Ohio State at 1.
Perfect. Yep. I'm the same in mine. I go Texas A&M at 1. I don't move them down at all just because I love that win. And then Ohio State at 2, Indiana at 3.
It's getting to the end here. I mean, these teams, there's the way the playoffs built, there's a big difference between 4 and 5 having the bye, and there's a big difference between 8 and 9 having the home game. So even these teams, like an Ole Miss, for example, that's probably a lock, not going to make their conference championship, you still have a lot to play for.
Yeah, absolutely. And Indiana at 3. I know they're undefeated. Jack, I got into it with the Uber driver last week because I know Indiana's undefeated, but Indiana doesn't have these 5 stars like Georgia, like Alabama, like Texas A&M, Texas Tech even now has them. I think Indiana's great, but once they get in the playoffs and they got to play some of these blue bloods, some of these teams that have speed and talent and they're big and physical, I got the SEC team all day long, and I went back and forth with this Uber driver, and he wouldn't give it to me. He's an Oregon fan, so he obviously doesn't know anything. But what do you think? What's going to happen when Indiana goes and plays? For example, how does it shake out right now? Who would they play?
Well, let's see. So let's just put them at 3. They would play not the 12-5. They would play like the 10-7. So Oregon or Alabama, let's say, for example.
Give them Bama. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I put a ton of respect on Indiana's win at Oregon. Winning at Oregon is very tough. They do have the 5 stars, they do have the speed, they do have the strength. But you are right. Indiana, against almost anybody in the playoff, unless somehow they catch an ACC or a group of 5, is going to be the less talented team. Now, I have a tough time fading Signetti. I don't know. I'm very curious. I think that Big Ten championship is going to tell us almost everything we need to know. Indiana. If they hang tough with Ohio State, I think they can beat anybody. If Ohio State blows them out of the water, we might see a little bit of last year's Indiana in the playoffs where they get matched up against a bigger, stronger team like Notre Dame last year and get smoked. But I
Yeah,
think Indiana for sure is better this year than they were last year.
I agree. And I think that Big Ten game is going to tell you everything you need to know. If that's a 3-point spread, Ohio State -3, lock of the season.
So a question that I had written down for you, we talked about it briefly, and you actually had Texas Tech at 4. I'll re-say it again. They have their one loss against Arizona State on the road. Don't forget, Texas Tech's QB was out that game. Every other game, they have won by at least 22 points. If they win out, are they a lock to have a bye in the college football playoff?
Yeah. Yeah, if they win out, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it'll be tough. I think so. I do think so. I mean, even if Indiana loses to Ohio State by 30, maybe they sneak in. Maybe they drop Indiana outside that top 4. Georgia is a question mark on winning the SEC. If they don't end up winning the SEC, I don't think Ole Miss jumps Texas Tech. If that makes sense. So I like Texas Tech moving up and then Ole Miss getting right underneath them at that 5 spot.
Yeah, and the thing that's weird about Georgia is they're not in the SEC championship right now. With Bama only having the one conference loss, they have the head-to-head tiebreak against Georgia. So if Texas Tech wins the Big 12 and Georgia is not playing, I do like Texas Tech jumping Georgia there, getting into that 4 spot. And they've earned it. I know they're not in the SEC. I know what their patch on their jersey says, but I'm not ruling out Texas Tech against anybody. I do think they could make a very deep run into this thing.
They're talented and they have the athletes to do it. That they went and got them in the portal this year. So yeah, it'll be fun. Let's see. Do we want to go for all the wild at what everybody's been waiting for? Noon kickoff in Montana, Missoula. The Cats, number 3, taking on number 2, Montana Grizzlies. This line's been moving a little bit. I think it opened at 1.5 in favor of MSU. I've now seen it to 2.5 in favor of MSU with a total of 59.5. Coming into this, the all-time series is 74-43-5, where UM holds a massive lead. Now there is something to be said about that record. It's a little bit kind of different throughout the many years of this rivalry dating back to 1897. But Cats coming off a 2024 win, now going to Missoula. This should be an electric game, Jack. I think we say it every year, but this year in particular, this should be an electric game. We've got a ton of stuff to dive into about this game. This is something that we're looking forward to. We've been looking forward to it all year. Where do you want to start here?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this rivalry has been going on forever. This is the 126th year of the Brawl of the Wild. And one of the best things about this rivalry is this is just the total throughout the records. It doesn't matter what your team looks like going into the year. This is the biggest game in Montana. But this year, we don't really have to throw out the records. I know Montana State has 2 losses, one of them being to Oregon. We can kind of throw that out for FCS purposes. And then their other loss being, I believe, an OT game to South Dakota State. And the Grizz haven't lost, which is crazy at this point. So I cannot wait for this. And oh my God, if you guys don't watch this game out there, get on it. This game in Missoula is an all-time atmosphere. I would put it on a bucket list for people that aren't even Montana folks. This is true hatred.
Yeah, this is great, and we think it's going to be a close game. I say that every year. We've said it for the last few years, but the last, let's see, 6 or so years, let's go back 2024, 34-11 Cats. Pretty good win. 2023, 37-7 win Montana in Missoula. It's the home team for the last 5 years in massive wins. The last close one in Missoula, Cats won. It was 2018, and it was 29-25. So that's the last close one. I'm thinking this is going to be a close one. Both of these teams, I mean, you said you talked about their records, but they are both undefeated in the Big Sky. So this is to win the Big Sky. Little history, I guess, on this. I mean, we've talked about 126 years, I think you said. They've got the Great Divide Trophy. That's been around since 2001. 306 pounds. Is it bronze? Is that what they...
Don't quote me on that, but I think it's bronze. It looks bronze. It's heavy.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, we should have got Rylan Ord on here, or somebody who's held the trophy to tell us about a little bit about the trophy. But let's see, 1897, this rivalry starts. This is kind of the first period of this rivalry from 1897 to 1916. Cats really didn't belong to a conference, while the University of Montana was in the Northwest Intercollegiate Athletic Association. Now, teams in this were Washington, WSU, York Cougs, Oregon, Oregon State, Idaho, and Whitman College. Then you move on to 1917 to 1963, where the Cats joined Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference, RMAC. The UM is now joined to the Pacific Coast Conference in 1924 in this period of time. The RMAC, where the Cats are from 1917 to 1956, includes Colorado, Colorado State, Utah State, and Brigham Young. Don't really know much about how good any of those teams were at this point in time. That we should have looked into that, see who was winning at this. I don't know. Were they any good when they were part of these conferences? Do you know?
I don't know. I know a lot of these games, Grizz, Nevada, Grizz, Boise used to be huge rivalries. I don't really know who was winning it all. But as we can see from the overall record, it seems like the Grizz were clearly better than the Cats during the early time of this rivalry, where they were snapping off 10, 15 game win streaks early on.
Yeah, I saw that there was one point that there was 16 in a row, I think, for the Grizz. But it sounds like the Cats were like an NAIA program. And I mean, like you said, they didn't belong to a conference. Then they joined the PCC, where you got Stanford, Cal, UCLA, USC, Oregon, Oregon State, Washington, and Idaho. I can't imagine that there's a whole bunch of winning seasons in there with some of those major names. But then they move on and they join more conferences throughout the years. It sounds like there's been 3 or 4 conference changes throughout this, where it's crazy. And now they're in the Big Sky. So 1963, I think they joined the Big Sky, and been going at it for 60-some years, almost 70 years. So
yeah, one of my favorite nuggets when I was doing a little research in this game, and I would love to bring it back. We don't have the facility there, but I would love to bring it back. From 1926 to 1950, they used to play this game in one of our favorite cities in Montana, Butte. They used to go meet in the middle, play in Butte, in Naranche. I want to put out an official petition. Let's move it back to Butte, go halfway, go a little Red River rivalry. But God, can you imagine some of the action in the parking lot in Butte, Montana going on? Montana State. If I was going to go back to the 1930s, I would go to that.
yeah,
They probably had
that
some
sounds
Calcutta
awesome.
going.
I'm all in favor of going back to Naranche, but I'm also all in favor of let's put this thing on like a frickin' plot of land and let's build a stadium that's got 50, 60,000 seats. Let's get these tickets available prices down a little bit more. I mean, everybody in the state wants to go to this game. It is a
Yeah.
freaking Montana holiday, and we just don't have enough seats to fill it in either of these stadiums. So let's put it in a field. Let's get some big person. Somebody's got to have a big chunk of land that they're willing to set up a football field for the weekend. I mean, come on, we'll put a bunch of bars around. It'll be a great time. Just let's set it up. I think it's a great idea. We need more seats for this game. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and another thing that looking at, I know you know this, I know a lot of people know this, that sweetens the pot of this game specifically. Montana State has 5 kids on their roster that are from Missoula that most likely probably grew up being Grizz fans. I don't want to speak for anybody. A few of them I know they were, but those names are Adam Jones, Zach Cruz, both studs. Tommy Nilsson, Dylan Rollins, who went originally committed to BYU, now is back in his home state, and JJ Dolan. So this rivalry, what's great about it compared to an Auburn, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, these kids grew up with this rivalry. They care about the rivalry. It doesn't get bigger in the state of Montana than this game.
Yeah. And I know we've talked a lot about the history, but this matchup in particular, you highlighted some of the names: Adam Jones, Taco Dowler, Caden Dowler, a couple other Montana kids, not from Missoula, from Billings. And then you've got some other key players. I don't know where they're from, but not from Montana. Julius Davis and the quarterback, Justin Lamson, from, I think, Stanford last year. And then prior to that, Syracuse and Bowling Green. So a little bit of talent there. Pretty good quarterback, it sounds like. Haven't watched too much of either of these teams this year, but they've obviously both looked great. I know that they've both had some incredible road wins. And then on the Grizz side of things, you've got Ayat, who's been pretty spectacular all year, just kind of not turning the ball over. Michael Wortham is a pretty incredible playmaker for the Grizz, kind of do it all. They put him at Wildcat, jet sweep, let him return punts. He's a good player. And then obviously you've got Gilman in the backfield, incredible running back for the Big Sky Conference. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't watched a lot of these two teams, and I'm going to be just having a hell of a time with the Mickey Slims and the mimosas and just enjoying the dang game. I'm probably going to go Cats here. I'd rather root for the Cats, so I'm going to lean Cats minus the points.
Yeah, I can see that. And another thing that I'd like to add on this game is this is huge for both teams' national championships hopes. The winner of this game is a lock to be the number 2 seed going into the playoffs, which means they will have home field all the way until the championship, which is a neutral site game for those who don't know. And even worse, the loser probably is going to have to go play at North Dakota State in the playoffs. We've watched FCS football. We know how that goes. I don't think a Montana team has walked into Fargo and won in the playoffs, at least in my memory, since NDSU's been rolling. So this is huge. It's you win, you're going to have home games. You have a great chance to make the national championship. You lose, eventually you're going to have to go on the road to most likely North Dakota State. Have fun with that. I'm going to go. I was raised in a Grizz household. I can't go against them here. So I'm going to go Grizz on the money line. My main thing is this has just been a home field advantage game. The last 4, I think the last road win we've had was in 2018 where the Cats beat the Grizz in Missoula. But give me the Grizz here. This is the best offense the Grizz have had in the last 5 years, at least in my opinion. One other thing on this game, does this feel like a really high total for Brawl of the Wild, 59.5?
Yeah, I was almost thinking that too, and just the nerves will be there. By the way, I love the pick with, the Grizz at home as a money line underdog in this kind of game. Home dogs seem to thrive. We both kind of thought that this would be in favor of the Grizz coming into it just because of a home field advantage, having the undefeated record. But opposite sides on this one, the total, yeah, it feels high. I don't know why. I mean, I do think they both have pretty good offenses.
Yeah.
But in a rivalry spot like this, 60s, 59 and a half or 60, whatever, seems like a lot.
Yeah. And I don't want to say anybody out there listening, if you got a house divided, I have a house divided this week. My parents, both Montana grads, my sister going to Montana State currently. Send us some pictures. We'll post it on the Instagram, post it on the TikTok. It's a special day in Montana. It really is.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely fantastic, and man, it's going to be a long day. But we
Yeah.
need the good. I don't know. It always comes with good warm breakfast at the tailgate, maybe some mimosas, screwdrivers, a little early morning drink to get you going, and then probably a good Coors Light or a Mickey Slim, some
So
Montana way.
one question for you here. I know you're going to the game. I'm not. You're cheering for the Cats. Are you going Cats gear? Are you going Cats gear at this game?
I'm not going Cats gear. So I don't have any. I don't have any Grizz gear. I've got a couple Cats things, uh, but I'm bundled up, and I'm just going neutral colors. So it'll
Switzerland.
exactly.
Well, should
But
we move
it'll.
on?
But what's that?
Uh, uh, Go ahead. You keep going.
Oh, I was saying it's going to be a great game and a fantastic day. The extracurricular activities outside of the game, the tailgating, uh, the night, just having everybody from out of town back in Missoula is going to be fantastic. I wish this thing would be a different time than 12, though. I know it's tradition to
Mhm.
put it at 12, but Christ, can we not get a freaking night game one of these years and make it absolutely rowdy?
Even give us like a 3:34 spot. You can get a little sunset action going. Show off the true beauty of Montana. I agree. I've been to plenty Cats Grizz games. I had a little mishap with Fireball the last time I went, and was chunks were coming out of me at 9:30 in the morning. I'm like, can we just scooch this back a little bit for me, please, for all of us out there that are trying to have a good time before we go in the stadium.
Yep. Yeah, well, let's move on to the rest of the slate. If you're only on here for the Brawl of the Wild, maybe you should stay tuned for the next 40 or so minutes because we are diving into some decent games, and we're gonna have fun doing it. We're bringing you guys some absolute winners. Last week, cashing Navy on the dog. That was
Huge
a
hit.
huge win. But yeah, it's going good with the best bets and everything. So let's get into it. We could go in chronological order like we did last week. I don't know some of these times. The earliest one I see is probably USC Oregon. Is that
I think
correct? Or
I think we have that 10 a.m. ABC game being Mizzou and Oklahoma is our Saturday morning game.
and then what time's Florida? Are they late at
Florida
night?
is, yep, that's the prime time ABC here, and I got all the times written down. So we're gonna
Perfect.
go for
So we're
our
going.
people that are not going to the Cat Grizz game. If you got a little multi-view, you're gonna have Mizzou, Oklahoma early, then you're gonna go into USC, Oregon. I have a feeling you're gonna be getting the Cats game, and then we hit into our primetime slate.
Yep, I love it. Mizzou Tigers, number 22, going to Norman, Oklahoma to take on number 8 Oklahoma. Oklahoma favored by 7.5 here. Low total of 41.5. And Oklahoma coming off a good, incredible win against Alabama last week. OU leads this series 70 or 67-25 with 5 ties. Missouri winning last year in 24. Jack, the news with this game, and I don't know if you've seen it, this line started at 9.5. Now, it looks like out of nowhere, I thought Bo Prabula was out for the season. Sounds like he is upgraded to questionable and was warming up last week for their game and looked
Wow.
good. So the fact that this has moved 2 points from 9.5 to 7.5 and him getting upgraded, I don't know. Is this just a stunt? Is this just to throw Oklahoma off a little bit, or is he going to play this football game?
I hadn't seen that news. If he is going to play, that's shocking. I thought he almost broke his leg against Vanderbilt. We were both watching that game. That was not a nick. That was a serious injury. He was carted off the field. And wow, I did not realize. I mean, I'll jump ahead. I was on Oklahoma minus 7.5, but I might have to reconsider. I haven't fired on it yet. Wow, that's big news because I mean, they're on their third string. So Prbula coming back, that's a big ass difference there.
Huge difference. And I don't know. I kind of lean in like, I hope this news heats up maybe a little more. Maybe people see him warming up, and maybe we get some positive rumors on him playing. This line maybe goes down even more. I mean, if we get official news that he's playing, maybe this goes down to 5.5 or 4.5, which in that case, I absolutely love Oklahoma. I also love the under in this Oklahoma defense, and Missouri being maybe on a third string, maybe just being in shambles. I also think the Missouri defense is incredible. And so this one I'm waiting on because I could see this going lower. In that case, I do want to take Oklahoma. Uh, I also love the under. Like, absolutely love it.
I couldn't agree more on the under. It's an extremely low total for the SEC being at 42.5, but it's not really a slight on either of these offenses, which I think you were kind of inferring. Both these defenses are incredible. I mean, Oklahoma at this point has the best defense besides Ohio State, and Missouri has pretty much been in every game because of their defense, even when they were dinged up at QB. I know Texas A&M blew them out late, but they were in it. They were right there with Vanderbilt. So I like the under there with you. I was on Oklahoma 7.5, but I might have to reconsider with this new QB news we got.
Yeah, dude, Prbula, out of nowhere. Sounds like he warmed up last week. We should have watched warm ups. I mean, I'll see how good he looks, but that is unbelievable. But I love the under. We're both on the under. We're gonna sit around and wait on that, see what we end up firing. Moving on to the 1:30 kickoff Mountain Standard Time. USC 15 going to Eugene to take on Oregon. Very familiar with Eugene, and this being a old pack matchup. Oregon laying 9.5, I believe. 10.5. I think it maybe opened at. It's now down to 9.5. USC leads the series shockingly, 38-23, and Oregon's won the last three. So Oregon coming off a win at home to Minnesota, and then USC coming off an absolutely great win at home with Iowa. Both those teams played Iowa close, Oregon and USC, but both of them came out with a victory. So I think this game might be close. I don't really know. I think USC is a little tougher than years past, and I'm just totally not bought in on Oregon yet. So I think this game stays close. I think USC's got the offense to kind of hang with Oregon here. So I'm going to go USC plus the 9.5 is where I lean on that.
All right. No, I'm opposite of you here. I think you make great points. This is an interesting game because, like we talked about earlier, I think the Big Ten championships is a total lock at this point with Indiana and Ohio State both being in there. This could be a win and you're in, if assuming both USC and Oregon win their last game for the CFP. I mean, these two are battling it out for that third spot, that third Big Ten team. I just can't imagine the Big Ten only getting two in. And the problem for Oregon is if they lose this game, they're going to be pretty much blocked by USC on the head-to-head. And it's going to be right at the end. They're going to be kind of a fringe spot. And obviously, USC, if they lose, they're out. Oregon, if they lose, like I just said, they're probably blocked. A concerning stat that I did see for USC here. In the playoff era, since 2016, USC is 2-8 against Washington and Oregon. And both those two wins came in 2016, pre-Lincoln Riley. So I kind of like Oregon minus 9.5 here to flex their muscles at home. I said it last week with USC. I think they're a completely different team at home than they are on the road. They're going to Oregon here. So give me Oregon minus 9.5. Don't think I'm actually going to bet it just for the pod.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way on this game. I don't know if I'm going to completely bet it, but yeah, winner of this game, high chances of getting in the playoff, and I'm rooting for USC to do it. That would be awesome. Moving on, we've got the primetime slate. Not very many morning games in our card. I think we've got two games at 5 or 5:30. We'll go to Pitt, going to Georgia Tech, number 16. Georgia Tech laying 2.5, total of 62.5. Pitt leads the series 11-6, and Georgia Tech coming off a win in 2022, being the most recent matchup in this matchup. Georgia Tech still at the top of the ACC. They look pretty good, even though they slipped up a little bit last week and had to fight to get a win against Boston College, one of the worst teams in college football. But they've got Georgia next week, and they everything's in front of them. I mean, they went out, they're in. I think you just got to win the ACC championship, and it doesn't really matter if you lose to Georgia next week. I know it's a rivalry game and you want to win it, but it's not the end of the world as far as getting it into the ACC championship and making the playoffs. Pitt coming off a huge loss to Notre Dame, so they should be ready to go. I mean, didn't really care about that game, it sounds like. So these are the next two games is what they're looking at. They want to win the next two and have a shot to get in that ACC championship and try and make the playoffs. So I don't know what to make of this game. I don't love either side here, but if I had to pick, I'd probably go Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I'm looking at this game the same way. Georgia Tech, like you said, they played Georgia the last week of the season, so this is just a clear, if they win, they're in the ACC championship. If they win the ACC championship, they're in the playoffs. And I don't think Pitt is dead. I mean, Narduzzi said it last week. He didn't care if they lost by 100 to Notre Dame, and it wasn't 100, but if you watch the game, it wasn't too far off. So I do think this is big that Georgia Tech is at home, and I'm looking at the Pitt QB, Heinstl. Still haven't figured out that pronunciation. Probably won't all season. Freshman QB playing on the road at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech has Haynes King as their QB. Very experienced quarterback. Just a winner. I actually really like Georgia Tech. -2.5 here. I just think Haynes King's a winner. He's going to find a way to get it done late. I'm just hoping it's not by 1 or 2.
Yeah, and we're still waiting on that future, the Georgia Tech to win the ACC future for Jack. That is an absolutely incredible pick. So you got to be rooting for Georgia Tech from here on out. So we'll see how that goes.
It'll be a fun game. I'm happy it's a night spot too. This has got to be one of the bigger home games Georgia Tech has had in years. I mean, it's just winning, you're in the ACC championship. It's as simple as that. They don't need help.
Yeah, I'm excited for them. Going to East Coast, where Florida is going to take on number 20 Tennessee. This is going to be a great matchup. Florida getting 4.5 here, 57.5 total. And you guessed it correctly, another SEC rivalry game with the weirdest, most fucking basic goddamn name in the world. The third Saturday in September is what they call this game. And you can guess why. They play on the third Saturday in September.
Is it third Saturday in November?
In November, sorry.
Okay.
I mean, Jesus, the SEC with their freaking rivalry names is unreal. Week after week, it's the third Saturday in whatever month that you're in, it seems to be, or the first Saturday. But what do you make of this game, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, this one's ugly. I think we both had a little higher expectations for Florida this year. I know the consensus going into the season definitely had higher expectations for Florida. They're 3-7. They can't make a bowl game. And Tennessee is, in my eyes, probably the most overrated team in the country. They have 4 wins this season against teams in Power 4 conferences. The combined records of those 4 teams is 4-23. So they really do not have a marquee win. I don't even know if you can say they really have a good win. So give me Florida plus 4.5, keeping it close. I know this season's been bad, but it seems like they haven't mailed it in. They're still tough in the swamp. I don't care who you are. Give me Florida keeping it close here. Not going to bet it. This game, tough one to pick.
Yeah, and speaking of them being tough at the swamp, the last time that the University of Tennessee went to the swamp and won, September 20th, 2003.
Free Urban Meyer.
Oh my goodness. But time before that was in 2001. So they had one back to back in the swamp. Uh, and then before that, 1971. So they have 3 wins in the swamp dating back to 1971. Florida, I mean, they still are putting up points. They lost by 10 to Ole Miss last week. That's not a horrible loss. They were hanging in there. Give me
They really
Florida
are.
as well. Plus the 4.5 on the third Saturday in November. Come on.
It, it reminds me of last year where Florida was out of it and Ole Miss went to Florida late in the season and lost. It just feels like Florida kind of has one game where they get a team at home and they ruin their season.
Yeah, and I mean, is Tennessee? Oh, never mind. They're not still alive in the hunt
I,
for
I,
SEC.
I think Tennessee is dead. If they win out, they might get up to 15, 16, but I don't think there's a path for them to get in.
Yeah. Yeah, we're on the same side there. Florida in the swamp versus Tennessee. It's not their place, so going with Florida there. Moving on to 6 p.m. Last game of the slate, where BYU number 11 is going to go to Nippert Stadium and take on Cincinnati. Cincinnati plus 2.5. Total of 54.5. BYU 3-0 in this series, and we're going to a game where, yet again, Bachmeier is going on the road, a freshman quarterback. He struggled throwing on the road. He's won some games on the road, but he struggled throwing a little bit on the road. And BYU cashes last week for us, or for me, in the best bets with TCU. Cincinnati loses in a close one to Arizona, where I get screwed on my locks. So both these teams, one of them helped me and one of them killed me last week. And now I've got them matched up against each other, where I'm not even going to pick a side. I'm just going to go under 54.5. I think it's kind of a weird line. I don't know. There's a lot to make of this game, too, as far as Big 12 championship hopes.
Yeah, you called it last week. That was a great pick on BYU. They smoked TCU. The thing I'd like to mention with BYU is when they played Texas Tech, their star running back, LJ Martin, did not play. He was back against TCU last week. BYU looked like a completely different team. They absolutely dominated that game. I actually like the over here. Funny that we're on opposite sides of the total. I just don't have a ton of hope for Cincinnati's defense, but I'm also on BYU minus the 2.5. Somebody in Vegas hates BYU. They're always a lot lower point favorite dog than you would guess. I'm going to have BYU keep it rolling. I would love to see them get into the Big 12 championship so the Big 12 has a legitimate shot at getting 2 teams in here.
And this is, I mean, crazy. There's 4 teams at 5-2, Cincinnati at 5-2 in conference, and then BYU at 6-1. So massive implications here to make it 5 2-loss teams in the Big 12. So it will really get shaken up, and I just want them to cannibalize each other. I hope Cincinnati, like, if they win this game, it shakes everything up in the Big 12.
Utah is lurking in the Big 12. They are killing teams. I know this game's not
Yeah.
about Utah, but if Utah snuck into the college football playoff, have fun with that matchup, whoever they would go play.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Well, it's a quick slate. We didn't have much. We obviously had the big Brawl of the Wild game to consume most of the time, and then a little bit of time on each of these other games for the weekend. They're all going to be fun. We'll put the official best bets out, the lock, the dog, the parlay, in this upcoming days. But do we want to get into those segments, Jack?
Yeah, I got one last thing on this week before we move on, real quick. You and I have both complained about this in the past, specifically me. The SEC playing the FCS schools this week is just ridiculous, but I think it's going away. With the SEC going to 9 required conference games and one of those being against Power 4, I just don't think they're going to have room in their schedule to play the Citadel or whoever all these teams play the second last week of the year. So happy that's done. It sucks to hit a little lull this point of the season with how much is going on with the SEC just having almost a conference-wide bye week.
Yeah, exactly. The only teams that don't are freaking Tennessee and Florida and Oklahoma.
Oklahoma
There's
and
just a
Mizzou.
few that are playing.
Yeah, everybody else is playing 40-point favorites. It's crazy. I'm not a
Yeah.
fan, but I don't think I'm going to have to complain about it too much longer.
Well, and speaking of a team that's doing just that, Notre Dame's going to be 40-point favorites in their next two games. I saw their 35.5 to Syracuse this week, and then you might as well not play against Stanford next week. I mean, it's going to be a freaking massacre.
It's for Notre Dame, these next 2 weeks is don't lose an alignment, don't lose a D tackle. Like, get up early, get your guys out. Get up early, get your guys out. It's all about the playoffs now.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. Best bets. We'll lead you off first. The best bets here. I actually don't have anything that I super love, but do you want to just go one for one? We'll go back and forth here.
Let's do it. You lead us off.
All right. I'm gonna go off the card here for one of my best bets, and I'm gonna go to TCU versus Houston, where Houston is a 1.5-point favorite here. Excuse me. Total of 54.5. This series being 14-13. Houston leads, so very close series here. Houston's coming off a bye, and TCU's coming off a pretty bad loss to BYU. TCU's been kind of all over the map this year, and I don't know if I necessarily trust them in this spot. They've only covered one time on the road this year, and this is a road matchup where the road opponent is coming off a bye. They're still alive in the Big 12. They've got 2 losses, and they've got an experienced quarterback in Connor Weigman to lead them. I like Houston minus the 1.5 here.
I saw that game too. I like that pick. I'm gonna shuffle up my best bets a little bit. I've been kind of going favorites in the bigger games. I'm gonna go a little different here. I'm gonna go to a rivalry spot. I'm waiting for this to get to 7, but I like North Carolina plus 6.5 this week. They got Duke coming in at home. Your boy Chapel Bill, one of my favorite quotes of the year.
Blue Chew Bill, baby, he's back on the card.
Fresh off the cheerleading event of Jordan. Don't know if you saw that. Is that professional cheerleading or one of the greatest coaches ever? Didn't think we'd see him there. But yeah, when I looked at this, it was North Carolina plus 6.5 at minus 105. So I'm going to try to sit on this, wait for it to get to 7 and fire there. Even if it doesn't go to 7, I'm still going to take North Carolina plus 6.5 at home, rivalry spot. Feel like Duke's trending down, North Carolina's trending up. Give me Chapel Bill here, keeping it close.
Chapel Bill, I love it. I actually looked at that game. Great rivalry game with Duke. Great pick. I also like him as a dog, and I thought about him for a dog too. So,
I think they're live.
Yeah, they are. They're live to win that game. Let's see. For my second best bet, man, I struggled with this quite a bit. I'm gonna go to another game off the card here, and I'm gonna go to Texas versus Arkansas. Texas obviously coming off a pretty big loss to Georgia on the road. Trying to pull up the game here. I don't know. Do you know where this is at, Jack?
I think I saw it was at 9.5, if I remember right. Texas being a 9.5-point favorite.
Or do you know who's a home team?
Texas. It's at Texas.
Okay, at Texas. I believe it's 8.5, but I'm gonna go double check that right now. Arkansas, they got Bobby Petrino. This is another spot. I talked about it earlier this year where he wins this game and maybe he starts being the top dog for that head coaching position in Arkansas. It could be a good spot for a good resume win for him. I know they're 0-6 in conference, but they've had a lot of really, really close losses. So Ole Miss, they lost by 6 on the road. Memphis, another solid opponent, they lost by 1. Tennessee, at Tennessee. These are all at Memphis was at Memphis. They lost by 1. At Tennessee, they lost by 3. Texas A&M at home, they lost by 2 or 3. Sorry. And then Auburn, they lose by 9. And LSU, they lose by 1. Mississippi State, they lose by 3. It goes on and on. Just one score losses, 3 points, 1 point, 2 points. It's unreal. So I like them to keep it close. Arkansas plus 8.5 here is my second best bet.
Yeah, I actually like that. I mean, like you said, they haven't had a win in the SEC, but they also, if the ball bounces their way, like it could be 5-1, and they're not getting blown out in any of these games. So I like that pick actually. And Texas doesn't blow anybody out to make matters even better.
Yeah, this should be a fun game.
For my next best bet, also off the card, going weird here. So I'm going to shift it up on you guys a little bit. I'm going to take Minnesota plus 3.5 on the road at Northwestern. I like Minnesota to keep it close here. Precursor, I am so biased. I have Minnesota over 7.5 wins. They're at 6. They play Northwestern, then they play Wisconsin. I need this win. Give me Minnesota plus 3.5 to keep it close here against Northwestern. Extremely low total. I think it was in the 30s last time I saw.
Yeah, I like it. Minnesota coming off a pretty big loss to Oregon, but they've got an extra day to rest. That was being a Friday game, but yeah, love it. Going to the last best bet. Kind of torn here. Do you have yours lined up? Do you want to go or?
I can go. I haven't locked this in yet, and I might have to reconsider. I was on Oklahoma minus 7.5, but now with this potential QB news, I might have to start doing a little bit more digging, see what our status is at Perdue. I'm with you. If Perdue plays and this line shoots down to 4.5, I think I like Oklahoma even more. So right now I have Oklahoma minus 7.5, but don't be surprised if we have a substitute here with the unknown at QB.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna go total here. And I'm gonna go to that Cincinnati game where the total is sorry, that's 54.5. I'm gonna go to the Missouri game with Oklahoma, and I'm gonna go under 41.5 there.
All right. I like it. We both kind of mentioned that we like that total on the underside earlier in the show. So those are our 3 best bets. Collier, you've been 2-1, 2-1. I've been 1-2, 1-2. A lot of season left. I can still catch up here. So let's hope we both are above 500. Maybe a 3-0 out of one of us would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to the lock and the dog. Do you want to lead us off here? Do you got something?
Yeah, for my lock, I'm going to a card game. We talked about it. I like Georgia Tech minus 2.5 here. Give me Haynes King. He's a winner. This is probably his last game ever. I might have to double check that. He feels like he's been around for a lifetime in college football. Give me Haynes King and the experience and the home field advantage. Georgia Tech gets it done and punches their ticket into the ACC championship against Pitt. Georgia Tech minus 2.5. Stingers. Stingers up.
Love it. I'm going to go to another game off the card. In a game with Utah and Kansas State, where Kansas State is going to Utah to take them on. They've never been there before. And them going on the road in this kind of matchup, Utah has been rolling. They're on the verge of making the playoffs. All they got to do is just keep winning and hopefully think the dice roll their way. Big spread here, 17.5. But I'm going to go Utah laying the points.
Yeah, Utah has been a monster last few weeks. They are destroying teams in the Big 12. So I like that. Keep it rolling. Style points, too.
Yeah, love it.
Well,
going to my dog. I'll go here. I'm going to follow you just so we can cheer together. North Carolina, Chapel Bill, Blue Chew Bill, whatever you want to call him. Rivalry game, first time against Duke. Give me Chapel Bill and the rest of the Tar Heels on the money line.
You know I love that. Chapel Bill missed you by 1 inch. Maybe need to take 2 blue chews instead of 1. We would have gotten in the end zone there against Virginia earlier in the season. My dog, I'm gonna stick in the ACC, and I'm going to a Friday spot. I keep talking about it with the dogs. I gotta go to it. I'm gonna go NC State at home against Florida State. They're plus 165. I have no idea why Florida State is a favorite against anybody at this point. Give me NC State at home on Friday to keep this Friday dog magic rolling. And we got to say it. You have officially tied up the dog race. We won't talk about the units, but in our race, it's a tie ball game. Neither of our records are great, but 2 wins. Anything can happen. We might have to talk tiebreakers if we end the year tied. We might have to fire a little bowl game dog, something like that. Get a little tiebreaker going.
Yeah, and it was what I said I wanted to do was cash a plus 300, plus 400 money line dog, and I said it a couple of weeks ago and ended up coming to fruition for us. But yeah, if there's a tiebreaker, or even if there's not, Pocket Jacks podcast is going to be doing a bowl game selection challenge, and if anybody wants to join, we're going to be doing it through the ESPN Fantasy app. We'll put it out on Instagram, whatever you guys want to do. You'll just shoot us a message for the details. We'll do a little entry fee, and it'll be like a winner takes all, or maybe there'll be a gold, silver, and bronze finish for money payouts. But just wanted to put that out there since bowl season is approaching. We will be doing a Pocket Jacks podcast pool for something. We might also have a squares board going out there for the national championship. But just some more things to get everybody involved. And if you guys want to do it, then shoot us a message. We'll be marketing it on our stories and social media. So it'll be a good time.
I love it. Well, should we build a parlay? And let me say, goddamn, our parlay was actually so close last week. It was so
3 out of the
close.
4 legs cashing, and then Duke being the last leg and actually the last game chronologically, and just gets absolutely obliterated. So it was great for a long time, and then it just came crashing down very fast on us. What do you want to do this week? Because we went conference winners last week on the money line. We've done some spreads. We've done some kind of same. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm down for anything. I mean, let's see here.
Do we
Should
want to
we
go? Do we want to go to some games that we don't have already?
Yeah, should we just maybe fire on 3 money lines? Go back to our roots. I mean, that was where our one winner was 3 money lines.
Yeah, that sounds fine. Let's do that.
All right. Let's see. Try to go off card here. Hopefully get you guys a winner. So many games to choose from here. You like BYU money line? I know that's on our card. Oh, I got one. ASU money line at Colorado. They're minus 7.5. Dillingham's a stud. They are so beat up, and they're still beating teams. They treated us well last week. Colorado is not good. ASU money line?
Yeah, I'm down. And one thing on that. What the hell? Levitt's just marketing himself as open in the portal before the season's even over. What is this?
I kind of thought Levitt and Dillingham were match made in heaven. I didn't really see Levitt leaving, and I have a feeling ASU's paying him a pretty penny. So that is interesting. Kind of shut it down, too. Like, just shut it down halfway through the season, which you never love to see.
Yeah. Let's go. I don't know. I kind of want to take an underdog here.
All right. Oh, plus
On the-
money, or are you going points?
I mean, I kind of want to go plus money and juice it up, but if you don't want me to, then I won't.
I say we go with one that we think is going to win outright, and then just take the points just to take the points.
All right, give me Louisville. My plus the
All right.
2.5. I like Louisville as a dog. SMU still in that hunt for the ACC championship, maybe if things shake their way, but maybe their butts get tight here. They clinch up a little bit. Don't look so good.
All right, I like it. Louisville bounce back spot. Maybe final leg. I just had this thought. We were both on them. I know it's on the card. Do we just go Oklahoma here? Oklahoma money line.
Sure, let's do it.
All right, so we are ASU money line, Oklahoma money line, and Louisville plus the 2.5, I believe, is the line on that.
Yep.
Feel free to throw the money line in there. I like it.
Love it. All righty. Well, thank you all for listening. If you made it this far, Brawl of the Wild Week, episode 14 has been a great one. Any closing thoughts?
Have a great time, Brawl Wild. It's once a year for a reason. Montana governor, if you're listening, we want the Friday off to be a Montana holiday. Come on, make it happen.
All right. Well, thank you. Go Irish.
Go Cougs. See you guys.